for your work?
I'll say Kirk's wonderful sense of humour. Kirk is a very funny man. He really makes me laugh. But also, Kirk's got a real, as a filmmaker, he's got a real love of community. I think it's a big part of his films. And Gala Shields and that whole thing is a massive part of John's life. So I think he brought that massively.
It's an important part of making movies, community.
It is. I've often been drawn to stories about community and kind of family, but also I love kind of mixing humour and emotion. I really enjoy that because I think that's kind of what life is about. Life isn't just a comedy or it's not just a tragedy. And I love kind of mixing everything up. I loved working with Rob. The casting process was very freeing and very unusual. Just as a little bit of background, in order to get this film, in order to get it made, my wife and I had sold our house previously, not to make this film. You know what's coming next, though. I can hear by the groans. And we were in the middle of looking for a new house. And we only had one meeting to try and finance this film, and I knew what was going to happen because I've been doing this for 25, 30 years now. The company said, it's great, really interested, we'd like to get involved, but you're going to have to cut back on the swearing because we don't think we can sell this film worldwide. And I promised John that I would not do that. I promised John I would tell an honest and truthful story. And I kind of promised myself, because again, having made films for so many years, I was used to, listening to notes, which obviously come from people who financed the film. So I went to the bank, and for the first time in my life, they kind of had everything that I owned because we'd sold our house. And I said, if I gave you everything, would you lend me more? And would you lend me enough money to make the film? And they said yes. I hadn't spoken to my wife at that point, by the way. So I waited until she was in a good mood, which, to be honest, she is most of the time. And I pitched the idea, and I think it took about 4 seconds. And she said, what you always want to hear. I am married to a wonderful woman. And she said, if you feel strongly about it, if you feel passionately about it, then let's do it. And I'm at an age now where I should really be calming down a little bit and not taking any risks and looking forward to a period in the future where I can just relax financially. And instead of that, we literally put it all on, red. And but I only mention that in relation to my relationship with Rob and to your question, because it's so important. What it meant was I was able to cast this film as it should be cast. I was able to sit down with my casting director and talk about actors who she in particular thought were perfect for this role. And the name that kept coming up was Robert Aramayo. And instead of going back to a financier, which I would have done over the last 25 years and said, I've got this amazing guy, this is the person that we should cast. And have them say, well, he looks great, but we were really thinking of someone, who's better known in the States, or is taken the lead role in a number of films. I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to ask anyone. It was just me, and it was the casting director.